Welcome back, or welcome for the first time if this is your first time watching. This is going to be a beginner's guide on Watcher of Realms. Now, I was thinking about making this while I was on my main account, but I figured I just started this account 31 days ago, and this was my Epics only account. So this is not going to be a one-for-one on what you'll experience. This was my second playthrough of the beginning of this game, so it'll always go a little bit quicker your second time through. No matter how many guides you watch or anything along those lines, it's always going to be just a little bit quicker your second time through. I don't understand why. It's always been like that for any game I've ever played. But to start out with, the first thing that it's going to have you do is the campaign. It's going to force you to go into campaign. It's going to force you to do a few levels of the campaign. Once you are out of this, it is a good idea to push campaign farther. However, one of the major things that you should do is push this Volca's path. This hero's path will eventually, and pretty quickly, I have not pushed it a whole lot, and I'm at stage 17 out of 18, so I'm almost at Volca, but eventually this path will get you Volca. She is a legendary hero, everybody gets her, and she is solid. She used to be okay, now she's a lot better than what she used to be. She's a ground AoE damage dealer, and she inflicts vulnerability, which is kind of like a defense break or defense down on the enemy, so you do more damage with either magic or physical. It's only a 10%, but it's still better than nothing, and it can be pushed up to 20%, I believe. So that is a good thing to push, and especially come back here every now and again, even when you're not pushing it, just to kind of see, hey, where does it want me to progress now? That's a good place to just kind of, whenever you get stuck, good point of reference to go by. So, what's next? Once you get to a certain portion in the campaign, you will then unlock promotion raids, resource raids, gear raid, artifact, the guild boss. All of these will kind of go over. So we're just going to go in order at this point. Promotion raid, these are your materials to not level up your heroes, but promote them. I guess we could go back to the heroes and start from there. So you have stars and then promotions. And you have levels. So, heroes will start out at level 1. Their rarity will depend on what star level they start at. So, let's see if I have some. I don't have any, but, so, uncommons, greens, these guys, generally pretty useless. You'll be lucky to find a few useful ones, and I'll see if I can go through. Actually, Liam, right here.
It's time they learn.
He is very handy for specific areas because he has a poison. Now, poison, if you've come from any other game that deals with poison, you know what this is. Now, they've just recently renamed it to neurotoxin. However, neurotoxin is poison. It deals continuous true damage equal to 1% of the target's max HP per second, stacking up to 3 times. So up to 3% of the target's max HP per second. Now that is only on his ultimate. He does this hit 10 times, or for 10 seconds, and this will happen every time he builds up his rage meter. His rage meter is dependent on a couple of things. You have a rage regen basic attack. That means every attack he restores 10 rage plus 1 from another bonus. Every second he will generate 14 rage just passively. So if he has 1 attack per second and he has a rage regen of 14. This means every second he'll gain 24 rage total. Now his ultimate was 300, so that would take that. Let's see, because I don't feel like doing math. 24 or 300 divided by 24. That'd take about 12.5 seconds to generate enough rage for him to ult. His ultimate is an auto ult. That means you don't have to activate it. However, there are people like this who their ultimate is manual. That means you have to activate it. It is a skill that you have to click on, and once you click on them, it gives you the ability to click on the skill and it'll activate. Or if you the skill appears so you can activate it. So that's the difference between manual and auto. And there, like I said, there are very few useful rare heroes.
It's time
Liam
they learn.
Being one of them. I don't think I have any others at the moment. But as I said, uncommons will start at 2-star level 1. They can go up to a maximum of level 20. Now, what you do is you can level them up. And once you level them up, you can star them up. In order to star somebody up, it's like most other games. You have to take 2 2-stars and level them up. Level them up to 3-star. Their level cap increases to 3-star. Once they're 3-star and their level cap is 30, do the same thing. To get them to 4-star, you level them up to full XP, so level 30 out of 30, and then you star up, and you can add 3 stars. Now I'm not going to do this one because I do have plans for these guys, but you get the gist of it. Your highest level of promotion and your highest level of star level is 6-star, indicated here by the 6 total gray stars. Now, these are just stars. You can get more stats by promoting. That is what the promotion rate is for. The promotion rate will give you these insignias. There are multiple levels of insignia. There are rare, or level 1, 2, and 3. So, blue, purple, and gold. There are some other promotion materials which we'll get into a little bit later on. But pretty much what this does is, as you can see, to go to 1-star of promotion, he would gain 19 attack, 60 HP. This doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it does add up quite a bit later on. Like, let's see. For him to go to 6 stars of promotion, that's 300 more attack and 1700 HP. Now, this account is not super high level. Like I said, it's completely free to play, and it has been my secondary account, epics only. So I have not put full effort into this account, but I haven't neglected it either. I have done my farming. I have done general gacha game stuff. So that is promotion and leveling and starring up and all that good stuff. The promotion raids, you have marksman, mages, endurance, and melee. Your melee, pretty obvious, it's for your fighters. Your marksman is for your archers. Your mages is for your mages. Your endurance, however, is for your defenders, your tanks, and your healers. So, that is one of the other things that there's also Mythic Extract, which is required to take a unit from 5 stars of promotion to 6 stars of promotion. And there are Legendary Extract, which are used to take, I believe, units from 4-star of promotion to 5-star promotion. Yeah, to stage 5, and this is to stage 6. So, though the higher level you are, the higher end insignias you will get. It does turn out to a certain point where you'll stop getting the lower ones on the regular stages. So stage 6 is the latest you can get the epics up until you get to extreme. Extreme is going to be much harder to farm, but once you get there, it's fairly easy. And then extreme 2, the same thing as extreme 1. It's just gets progressively harder. So what you need to farm depends on what insignia you need, and that'll determine where you farm at what specific time. So next, let's get into the resource raids. The resource raids are EXP or gold. EXP, straightforward. You complete the dungeon with the amount of units you beat. Let's see. So pretty much 8-4, which is this level of experience raid. What happens is it'll spawn a bunch of units, 70 units in total. So if I kill all 70 of these units before they reach my portal, I'll get the full amount of EXP from this EXP raid. If I don't, I will get a percentage less. So each one of these guys carries a specific amount. If one of them gets through, I don't get the experience potions they're carrying. So this one is just about done. And what I'm doing here is an auto fight. This takes a fight that I have run previously and deploys heroes the exact same way that I did previously. So this one I got 100%. And I did get 2 uncommon heroes from this as well. They're food, that is all they are. They will be used as fodder to level up other people. Gold Raid works the exact same way as EXP Raid, except instead of EXP, they are carrying gold. Now, you can increase the efficiency of these. One way is to get later stages, and the later stage, you get more. Like stage 7, I'm getting 10,500, 436 energy. Stage 8, I would get 20,000 for 50 energy. And stage 9, I would get 25,000 for 50 energy. So the efficiency is, you figure 25,000 divided by 50. I'm getting 500 experience per energy for stage 9, whereas stage 7, I'm getting 36, 291. That is a large difference in efficiency. Now, obviously, stage 9 is going to be much harder, and I also don't have it unlocked. So you're always going to want to farm the latest stage you can get max efficiency on. Now, max efficiency also depends on you being able to defeat all of the enemies and get all of the experience from it. The easiest way to determine what your max efficiency is just like I did. Take the amount of EXP you're getting for the amount of energy you're using. Now, this is not the max efficiency right now the way I'm doing. There are items in the game which, let's see. So I can show you with a gold bonus plus 100%, and there's also an EXP bonus plus 100%. What this does is it increases for 24 hours your efficiency by 100%. So instead of that 10,500, I would then be getting 21,000. So I would then be getting 21,000 EXP per 36 energy. That obviously is the best way to farm. Early on, ideally you only farm when you have the EXP bonus active, because early on that's when you're going to get the biggest boost out of it. Later on, you use it, and when you use it, you're just farming EXP. That's the main point of it. So that's the resource raids. The gear raids is next. And we're actually going to skip the gear raids because there are multiple sections of gear raid. 1, 2, and 3, and then we have Gear Dungeon 1 and 2. We'll get to that here in just a second. We'll come back to that after we hit Artifact Material Raid. Artifact Material Raid will be one of the latest things you unlock as far as unlocks in the raids. And what this is you farm for meteorites. These meteorites are used to craft artifacts, hence the name Artifact Material Raid. You're farming the materials to create the artifacts. So what these are used for are on your units, your artifact. These are different artifacts. You could equip one on each unit, obviously if you have them, and there are specific types that can be equipped on certain types of units. Like Taunting Gaze is class limited to archers. What this does is increased distance means increased damage. Every 1 tile away from the target increases damage dealt by 2%. You can promote these. The way you promote it is you get a copy of this artifact and you have it at max level. Once you have it max level and a copy of it, or one of these blank essences, you can then promote it by sacrificing the copy of it to the max level one with some of the mithril, and that'll bring up its level and level cap. So it'll go from level 10 out of 10 to 10 out of 13. And its effect will go from 2% every 1 tile to 2.5% every 1 tile. All artifacts can go to +5 promotion. It is fairly difficult to get artifacts to +5 promotion, as they do get increasingly expensive as you go up in levels. But that is the point of farming Artifact Material Raid. This is all you are doing with Artifact Material Raid. You are gathering the materials to create the artifacts and the mithril to upgrade them. The way you create is you go into the artifacts and you hit forge. Now I don't have enough to forge any, but I do have enough to forge an epic. You can do either a 10 forge or a 1 times forge. The efficiency of either one, or the rarity of drops of either one, does not appear to have any effectiveness. You can do a 1 times or you can do a 10 times, and the likelihood is you're going to get the same rarity as you would in 10 pulls of a single as you would of 1 10 times. That's just a hard thing to prove because it is RNG based. So what you do, you click the forge and you get an artifact. I got Keen Wisdom because of the epic forge. I have a 90% chance to get an epic and a 10% chance to get a legendary. With legendary, I have a 55% chance to get an epic, 40% to get a legendary, and 5% to get a mythic. Mythic, your increased odds of higher rarity, and then you have exclusive, which finally gets rid of the chance of getting the epic artifacts, but then gives you a chance to get exclusive artifacts. Exclusive artifacts are artifacts that are for specific units. So for somebody like
my aim is true.
I don't believe I have anybody on this account that has an exclusive artifact. I may just be missing them, but actually Hex has an exclusive artifact. Now this is my Epic's account, so I can't use legendaries. Not that I would have Hex's artifact anyways. Hex's artifact is the Citra of Caprice, or whatever it is, and it is exclusive to Hex. This is an effect that only he can take advantage of, and only he can use this artifact. You can get this artifact even if you don't have the unit, and in which case the artifact is useless to you, but it's still a good idea to save exclusive artifacts either way, because a lot of the time they are a very good artifact for that specific unit.
Let's see what the cards have in
As at the moment of recording, you cannot farm material to go for exclusive artifacts. However, there they are adding a up to 22 artifact material raid, which will have exclusive artifact material drops, but that has not been added to the game at this moment in time. So I'm not going to go over that. So back to Gear Raid now. Gear Raid 1, 2, and 3. Effectively, they're all for farming gear. Now, the reasoning for Gear Raid 1 is what you're doing with this is you are farming your left side gear. What your left side gear is let me go into my unit,
My aim is true.
is these weapon and armor. Now, these will be flat stat, and the armor is set to HP, the weapon is set to attack. The difference is these substats. These substats will change, and they are randomized on how good they are, for the most part. So, like this is a legendary piece of gear, and what you do is you can enhance it. Now, early on, you won't have the auto enhance, and you will unlock that later on. I do recommend waiting to enhance most things until you can do auto enhance, because it's just so much easier. Enhance what you need to progress through the missions, but it's just so much easier to do the auto enhance with quick enhance. Now, you do have to be careful with this, especially early on, because it can cost quite a bit of gold. I have 1,000,000 gold here. I will go ahead and take this to +8, and this was pretty cheap. This cost me 15,000 gold, but I got pretty terrible rolls on this. So I'm going to sell this. Early on, this may be worth keeping, especially if you either have this or nothing. This is much better than nothing, for obvious reasons. But for me, I'm going to get rid of it.
My aim is true.
So right side gear, or left side gear, like I said, is set to attack for weapon, HP for armor. These substats are randomized, and for attackers, you want to try to prioritize crit rate and attack damage. Attack in this game is much better than in most games. The way it's calculated, it seems, is you subtract the attack, or subtract the defense of the target by the attack, and then you multiply that number by the crit damage. So the higher base number you can get, the bigger the multiplication it is, right? So you want to have the most attack as possible, and then after that, after you pass that certain threshold, then you want to have more crit damage. Early on, you want to focus on attack numbers only. Attack is going to be king, and early on, you will not be able to get 100% crit rate. If you can get 20% crit rate, great, but prioritize attack. Once you are getting red gear, that's when I would say prioritize getting 100% crit rate with high attack. Once you can get high attack with 100% crit rate, then prioritize crit damage. Certain units will also benefit from attack speed. Attack speed, what that does is it reduces the interval between attacks. Units all will have, well, not all, but a lot will have different attack intervals. The higher attack interval, obviously the higher reduce, or the more effective the attack speed is going to be. As my Idril has plus 198 attack speed, putting her at a total of 298. She's getting minus 0.8 seconds, so she's at 1.2 attacks per second. There is a balance, and there are certain units that will benefit more from attack speed than attack percentage, and vice versa. The best bet for that is to, one, either experiment with the unit, or other people may have guides based on that specific unit. that's one of the hard things to determine. But also, one of the things to remember with that is read the skills. The skills will tell you specific things. Like Dolores here. She is a extremely good unit, extremely sought after unit. She is a healer by all technicality. However, what she's used for is not her healing. She is used for her inspiration. What this does is it shares a portion of her attack with people within her range. Her range is this. So, she has attack-based healing to all allies in range. Her healing is not very good. But one thing that people often overlook with her is they don't read the rest of her kit. One, it says it grants attack-based healing to all allies in range. Healing frequency will not be affected by attack speed. So, attack speed building on Dolores means nothing. It does absolutely nothing. So, I have 85 attack speed on her. That is purely accidental. That's just because the rest of this gear is better for her. And some of it just happens to have attack speed on it. This will say, oh, we're subtracting 0.5 seconds from her attack interval. This is false. She will still only attack every 2 seconds. Her attack is her healing. She's attacking our units for a healing multiplier rather than a damage multiplier. So, make sure you read units' kits just to make sure that they can be affected by attack interval. Another unit that this is a common thing with is Vierna. Vierna is a legendary mage of the Cursed Cult. She's a very good mage, but she cannot have her attack speed reduced by attack speed. Deals 100% magic damage or 100% damage to one enemy. Attack speed bonuses do not affect basic attack. And her ultimate, which is a manual, is a one-time hit, so attack speed is useless on her. She does have an execute, which is why she is good, but that's a more advanced thing. This is a beginner's guide. This is just going over basics. I know it's pretty long already. We're going for 25, 27 minutes already, but I'm trying to get everything covered in this one video. So, back to the gear raids. The gear raids, like I said, gear raid 1 will drop you only left side gear. This is your weapon and your armor. You will unlock this first, and you will get much higher in this than you will in others early on, more than likely. Now, the thing with gear raid 1 is it is a large group of enemies are attacking walls. These walls you need to protect, and if the enemies get through the walls, they'll get to your crystals and they'll destroy your crystals. So you want AoE damage for this, and later on stages you want magic AoE damage. Early on you can get away with AoE physical damage, but later on you will want magical damage. And you can look at this by looking at the map info and looking at the resistances of each creature, which this is a little bit deceptive because so the armor type is the biggest thing to look at, because what these percentages are doing is this is going, okay, the percentage is, say, out of 1,000, so this could be 100, but this percentage could be out of 10,000, so this could be 1,000, right? Or vice versa with this one specifically. So you want to make sure you pay attention to the armor type. Now, the armor type will tell you what they're weak against. Heavy armor, weak against magic, strong against physical. That will be gone over early on in the game with one of the tutorials. And I believe we can also look at that in the hero page. that. Yes, so this is the easiest way to look at it. So we have light armor. Piercing is strong against light armor. Heavy armor, magic is strong against heavy armor. All types are equal against normal. Damage remains unchanged. And common, same thing. So you want to make sure you have the correct damage to take advantage of it. So just keep an eye on the armor type and the damage type that you have that you're doing. Early on, like I said, gear raid 1, you'll get the farthest. You can get to like stage 9 or 10 with single target units. It will increasingly get harder. So gear raid 1, good thing to farm early on. Get your units geared with decent gear. I would say just get them geared with gear. Once they have that right side, forget it for a little bit. You just go back to campaign, get farther in campaign. Because once you get farther in campaign, you'll then unlock gear raid 2 and 3. 2 and 3, they give you your right side gear. Now your right side gear is a lot more robust. You have a lot more options on your right side gear. Now it is still RNG on what drops, but you can have many more options. So for rings, or bangles, sorry, which is this first item, you can have all of these options. For amulets, you can have all of these options. And for the rings, you can have all of these options. You can go into the filter and click on each slot to see what the possible outcomes for the primary attributes are by just clicking on that slot and then selecting primary attributes. It will show you this even if you don't have anything of that attribute. So what we're getting to with this is your right side gear, your rings, amulets, and bangles, you do not want flat stats on, because they will just be worse for the most part. Early on, you just want gear. Early on, when you're just getting people with stuff, there's no harm in putting somebody in an attack flat stat ring, because this is still 300 more attack than what they would have if they had nothing on. So when you're just getting into it, don't worry about having flat stat rings on or flat stat right gear. Go ahead and just throw it on. I would not recommend leveling it too far. Like +8 is about all you want to level it, but it could be helpful. That is another thing that we're going to come to. So you see here, I have a blue piece of gear that is +4. This is a purple piece of gear that is +8. And this is a red piece of gear that's not enhanced at all. However, I can enhance this all the way to 16. The rarity of the gear will depend on how far you can enhance it. Rare will only have one substat, and you can only level it up to +4. That means this rare ring will only ever have 795 HP. If it was epic, it could have higher. If it was legendary, it could have even higher. And if it was mythical, it could have even higher. There's no way at the time of this recording to upgrade the level or the rarity of gear. Will they add it in the future? Probably not. But you could have gear that is good and is worth keeping at legendary. Like currently, I haven't been able to farm gear for my healer past legendary. So this is the best gear on her right now. keep your gear until you're comfortable with increasing it. It's not a race. You can play this game at your pace whenever you want. So that's the baseline of gear. I'm not going to get into how to gear each unit because healers, tanks, attackers, all of them have different ways to gear them, and each specific type may have a different type of gearing. Like Dolores is a healer and Hollow is a healer, but the way you want to gear them is radically different. So you don't want to just go, oh, this is a healer, this is exactly what I want on this person. Certain people won't benefit from crit rates. Certain people won't benefit from certain things. There is a fighter here, Gluttony, who his damage is based off his HP. So attack does nothing for him. So you just want to pay attention to what unit you have and how you want to gear them. And if you ever have any questions, most units will have some sort of guide on YouTube. And if they don't, let me know and I'll see if I can make one. If I have the unit, I'll make one. If I don't have the unit, I'll see if I can find the answer for you. So that is gear raids. Oh, one other thing about gear raids. Gear raid 1 or gear raid 2 and 3, you're getting bangles, amulets, and rings. The difference between the two is 1, gear raid 3 is geared more towards archers, and gear raid 2 is geared more towards damage, or just like AoE damage. Gear raid 2 is more geared towards physical damage or magical damage. Gear raid 3 is geared more towards physical damage. There's also a difference in the sets that you get between the two. Early on, you just want to farm what you can of the highest. So on this account, I'm farming gear raid 3 because I can get to stage 15 of gear raid 3 where I can only get to stage 12 of gear raid 2. So with stage 2, I have a lower percentage chance to get mythical items and ancient items. Now, it won't give you the percentages, but it will give you kind of a visual reference. So, ancient weapon or ancient gear is the secondary attributes are superior to legendary gear. That's all it is. Same with mythical. The secondary stats should be better than non-ancient gear. These are just higher statted weapon or drops. That's all they are. They are very rare and you will get them very infrequently. Some of them are very good. Some of them are unfortunately pretty bad. That is just luck of the draw and RNG. Once you get later game, Gear Raid 3 is more for your damage sets, and Gear Raid 2, you want invigoration for your healers and your secondary units. That's more of a later game thing because you can't get those premium sets till the 19s. So don't worry about that too much. Gear Dungeons 1 and 2, you cannot access until you beat stage 18 of the Gear Raids. These have guides of their own, and once you get there, that's when you should look at specifically those. Until then, just kind of put those out of your mind. They were just recently added anyways, so don't worry too much about that. Your Drake's Chasm, this is your daily guild boss. What this is it is a boss that your entire guild attacks, and if you get it down to 0%, everybody will get double rewards from it. If you don't get it down to 0%, or if your guild doesn't get it down to 0%, you will just get the single reward of the threshold that you hit. You get 2 of these per day, and that is all you get per day. It does not refresh on an hourly basis or anything like that. It refreshes on a daily basis. And the only way to get more is to buy some with diamonds. it is very rarely worth buying an extra an extra stone for diamonds, but there are very niche situations where it is. You can also get them through daily login rewards, or sometimes they give them out as rewards. It's very infrequent, but let's see. I don't have one on this, but on the first 30 days, I believe you get one. Okay, I was wrong. You get one from a reward within the first 30 days. But once you get later on in, like, yeah, see, here you get one. Yeah, I could have swore you got one early on. You may get one through the Volca questline. So there are very specific times where you will get extras. So that's that. It's a guild boss that everybody fights against. You set a team and you fight it. You do not fight alongside your guild. You just do your fight and you do the percentage that you can. Higher you get, the better the rewards get. Titanic Ruins. This is your weekly guild boss. This is much harder than the daily, and this probably won't be hit till month 2 or month 3. This will take a while to get to. It does unlock pretty early, but you can go in there, fight it, but don't get discouraged if you can't beat it. Faction trials, what this is you can only use units of a specific faction to fight in this battle. If you beat it, you get these insignias to level up your Pantheon. Pantheon is this dragon over here, and what it does is daily it'll give you a random chest, but as you get these insignias, you can level up these. These stat bonuses are global throughout all of your units in any place on the game. This is just a background thing that is added, and the stronger your Pantheon gets, the stronger your units will be. This is something that is worth farming, but don't put all your effort into it, because you won't be able to complete all of it at once. It's something that is time gated and will take time to complete. Also, like I said, you can only use people of that faction to do it. So you may not have units of that faction to be able to fight in it. So do this when you can. Don't get discouraged when you can't complete something, though. Just move on to something else and come back to it. These unlock daily, and they cycle through the week. It will come back around. Don't worry too much about it. Immortal Codex is more of an endgame boss rush type thing. It is only open specific times during the event. They are good to farm if you can, but don't get discouraged if you can't, because they are difficult. Tide is kind of it's one of people's least liked modes, and pretty much what it is you withstand waves of enemies. You place units down and you cannot control them. It autos the fight, and it's pretty much just, do you have higher than the suggested BP? BP is determined by the gear on your units, their levels, their skills, just the general strength of your units. So that's just pretty much, do you hit this threshold, yes or no? If you do, more than likely you're going to beat it. There are certain waves that do require some sort of luck or skill, and when you hit those, you'll either know it or you won't. I always suggest trying a fight like 2 or 3 times before you go, okay, what am I doing wrong? That is another thing that is nice about this game. And since we've completed all of these, I can get to that. When you lose a fight or you quit out of a fight, so say I want to try and beat hard 8-1. I have currently 498 energy, right? So if I fight this, it'll take away 12 energy. So I go in here and it does use the 12 energy to get into it. However, if I quit out or if I fail or if I lose, no matter what happens, if I do not complete it, I get that energy back. So it doesn't punish you for not being able to complete stages. You can try something multiple times before you, and you won't lose the energy. So that is a very nice thing compared to most other games. Most other games, you'd fight this and say you lost 4 times before you completed it. You would have lost that 12 energy 4 times. With this, you do not. So that is a very nice thing. Don't be afraid to try a fight higher than what you're currently able to do, because there's no harm in it. So next up is, let's see. We should look at the Dwarven Association. Dwarven Association will sell random things. Insignias, there's only a very few things that I would suggest buying with diamonds. Insignias is not one of them. Units is also not one of them. So I would suggest trying to buy units up here if you have the gold when they're discounted, or if you need one of the fusions. So for me, where I'm at in the game, I'm not going to buy any of the purple gear or the blue gear. The gold gear may be worth it for you. For me, it is not. But if it is for you, don't feel bad buying it. It can just get expensive. I do suggest buying the insignias because they are much easier to buy here than they are to farm. This is 3 insignias, and that cost me like 3,000 gold. That could have been one full run of stage 6 of the insignia raid. So here, they're always a good idea to buy. Let's see if I can find. So if you have auto fights for gold, I suggest buying them. Auto fights are amazing. And this is another thing. Rare summons. This is one of the few things that I do recommend buying with gems. If you have the gems available or diamonds available, buy the rare summon, because this is 20% off. So I'm getting this for 70 diamonds instead of it being a single summon for 88 diamonds. So if there's summons available in here, there will always be discounted in this. As far as I could tell, they've always been discounted, and I do recommend buying them. But as far as everything else here, I'll buy these 2 units because I do have the gold 2 right now, and they are discounted, so I'm getting a discount on it. And that's all that I would buy from this. You have a certain amount of free refreshes, and you have a certain amount of refreshes that cost gold in this. And I will get to there in just a second. What I will do is I will go ahead and through all of my refreshes, and I will just buy this stuff that I see worth it. In certain cases, as you get later on in the game, you will have plenty of gold, and buying these other ones that are not discounted is worth it, but that's only if you have a reason to buy them. So now we're getting to the refreshes that cost gold. It'll start out at 500, and like I said, I go through the gold refreshes. However, once I get to the diamond refreshes, I no longer go any farther than that. So we're at 1,000 gold now that it cost me, and after this it would cost me 5 diamonds. Now I personally, I don't go into the diamonds. I don't see a point in refreshing farther. You get a refresh of the shop every hour as is. So if you need something specifically, just come back after an hour and you might be able to get it. Guild shop, what is in here depends on the level of your guild and what you can buy. The guild coins you get through quests. We'll go into quests here in just a second. Arena shop, same general thing. Your arena shop, what's unlocked here is dependent on what stage of arena you're in, or what grade of arena you're in. And the way you get the coins to buy from arena shop is through doing arena. Awakening shop, this is what the coins you get here, you get them by selling off epic or legendary units. I do not suggest selling any units until you have them A5. Rares with being the exception. Now, rare units, let's see if I have any. Yes, I do. So rare units you can sell for 30 gems a piece. I do not suggest using rares as food. I suggest selling them for diamonds because they're just more useful in that. So this is 120 diamonds right here. That is a summon and a half. I could get a legendary from that summon. I could get another rare. I could get an uncommon. But it's another bite at the dice. And the other thing is the diamond shop. So those 4 rares may have just been 400 energy if I need it. So rares that you are not going to use, I recommend selling off. There are a handful of rares that are worth using. Drogo being one of them. Major AoE damage. Voltus, who you start out with. Rex is a fusion, or is part of a fusion, and he is also a solid tank. Borut is one of an earlier units you get, but he is also a lord. Lord bonuses are dependent on the faction they're a part of and what faction they're a lord from. Lord bonuses, not all lord bonuses are useful. Most are. All will give extra stats for the faction that they're a part of. So for Borut, he is a Watcher, and Idril here is a part of the Watcher faction. So if she's in the same team as him, on the same row as him, she'll get a stat bonus and whatever other bonus he gives here. The units do not have to be placed in order to give the bonuses unless otherwise stated. So Borut does not have to be placed. Ein does not have to be placed. I believe Ivar, who is somebody that you won't get. You won't get early on, more than likely, unless you're very lucky. When deployed, faction team members' damage increases by 15% every 20 seconds. So this is stating he has to be on the field for that portion of the bonus to take effect. Lord bonuses will go over slightly in the tutorial of the game, so I would recommend paying attention to that. So, now let's get into quests. The quests, you have daily, weekly, monthly, and challenges. Challenges, the game will just kind of give you. They are generally one-time completions, and once you complete them, they just go into the claimed portion there. As you can see, I've claimed a good number of these. I haven't got to Gold 3 in Arena, but eventually I'll get there, or I won't with this account. Who knows? It depends on how much further I take this account. Monthly, as it says, these refresh monthly. The last portion of it is sign in for 25 days. You sign in for 25 days, you get this portion, and then once you complete the rest of it, you can claim this portion up here, and it'll refresh. Weekly, sign in for 5 days. So this one, actually I could show you. As you can see, all 3 of these are completed. Once I claim it, I'll get all of that, and it will refresh. Now that it is refreshed, I have to wait another 5 days. And if I complete all of this within these 5 days, as soon as I sign in for 5 days, I can claim it all and it'll complete. Daily, same thing. It refreshes daily. These lucky knives are part of an event that's going on currently. They do put on events periodically that you get currency for specific like boards, bingo boards type thing. But that's dependent on time and all that good stuff. That's not a permanent thing. It's periodic. The nice thing about the quests is instead of just giving you straight energy that would overcap you so you're not at efficiency anymore, they give you potions. Now, these potions, this one is only 10 stamina. It's like, okay, no big deal. That's 10 stamina. But, let's see. This is a way I could show. So, if I was to try to go and do 25 fights of this, that would be 500 stamina. So, if I hit start, I could then use all of this to get energy. I could sit there and use 23 huge stamina potions and get 4,600 energy. These do not expire. You can collect as many of them as you want and as many of them as you can. So there's a ton of ways in this game to get free stamina just to generally grind more. So that's the quests, the basic quests. Then when you join a guild, which it will have you do through the tutorial, you will have guild quests. You complete these guild quests and you get guild coins and guild activity. The guild coins are used in the guild shop and you get other rewards from this too. The guild activity will build towards your experience, or the guild experience. The more guild experience the guild has, the higher level it will get to. There's also donation in the guilds. Early on, you probably won't be able to do a whole lot of this. If you have spare of something like the rare skill dust that I have currently, I can do this. But early on, you're going to want to use your rare skill dust. Let's see. Demon soldiers, that's more of a mid-game thing. Pretty much these are used in guild wars. A GVG. Don't worry a ton about that early on. Yeah, just I wouldn't worry a ton about that early on. So let's get to the most gacha portion of the gacha game. Summons. Early on, you want to summon on as many 2 times and raid ups for good legendaries. Good legendaries, early on you won't necessarily know what a good legendary is. Later on you'll kind of pick up on the skill sets of people. I recommend either summoning, if you don't care about meta in the game, summoning for people you think look cool, because that's always a valid thing to do. The game is yours to play however you choose. If you just want to play it for the art style and look, which this game does have amazing art style and amazing cinematics for units, that more power to you. It's I completely agree with you. It's a nice looking game. If you want to summon for meta units, I recommend watching videos. People will tell you who is good, who is bad. If somebody tells you that this person is good, but they are wrong, there will probably be like 10 or 15 people giving you an accurate answer. And if you're just not sure, unfortunately, all you could do is judge it for yourself or watch people using the units. Divines, they have a higher percentage chance of being legendary. However, you get less of them. What are these? These are rare summoning crystals. You have a... Let's see. You have a 1% chance on a 2 times. So generally a 0.5% chance to get a legendary, 0.8% or 8% chance to get an epic, and the rest is rare and uncommon. After a certain amount of summons, you get certain rewards. These will vary based on the amount of summons you've done. This account, I've done 622 summons. It is 31 days old, and this is completely free to play account. So this game does throw a ton of summons at you. There is a pity system as well. After 220 summons, I believe it is, you are guaranteed to get a legendary. Likelihood is you'll get it before that, but that is why the pity exists, because you can go to it. For legendaries, the pity system is slightly less forgiving. I believe you can go quite high in this, but the pity system starts to kick in after 12 summons. Every summon after that, you'll increase by 2%. You could do the math with that. There's been plenty of people who've done the math previously. I don't really care to. Hero Fusion. Some of these units are permanent fusions in the game that you could do over and over and over again, such as Komodo, Navras, Theowin, Livian, and Lightlock. Abomination, you can do one time only. So this fusion, he is a legendary fighter. He is very good. Micah, she is fairly new, and she's a legendary summit or legendary fusion, and you can only do one time, like it says here. Fusion attempts 1. Fusion attempts 1. These ones are all blanked out. Every now and again there will be events in the game which will be specific fusions. They will appear in this area too, and then there'll be other events that are shard summon events. They will appear in another tab below this. I can't demonstrate that because it's not here at the moment. Let me see. I think I have... Turns out I don't have any shards either on this account. Oh well. The events, they'll be well documented. when they're going on, you'll know about it for the most part. The events are over here. If you click on this here, you could scroll through this, see what all events are going on, and you can click through here. For the treasure hunt, this is the lucky knives. That is how you take advantage of that. For the trials, this is your tournaments. This is like you're competing against other people within a specific bracket. The way they make their brackets is unknown to me. It seems completely random. You just kind of draw straws. But that's the baseline of that. I believe that is about it for this guide. That's probably going to cover most of what you need. So, one last thing. Every now and again, you will have people that will visit the camp, and they'll give you just random quests. If you complete... So, if I complete this quest, which is just a stage to complete, I'll get 150 energy and 5 arena permits. These are arena attempts. They refresh over a specific amount of time, but you can get extras from buying them through diamonds or earning them through that. You also get your idle rewards. So if you're logged in for 90 minutes throughout the day, you get all of these rewards every day. That refreshes daily. So I'd recommend just at least logging in, getting your idle rewards if you're not going to do anything else. Another thing is Void Rift. This will unlock after a certain point in the game, and what it is it's a map where you traverse. You get free rewards on the ground. You can pick them up, and you also go to different enemies and you fight them. The fights are just like anything else. It's just some of them are limited to specific things. Each fight, you can look at the requirements of each fight. That pretty much covers the baseline of the game. If I missed anything, which is very possible, it's a pretty large game, and I very well may have missed something. If I missed something that you're confused about, definitely feel free to let me know. And if you want a more concise guide on where you should focus at what point in the game, let me know, and let me know what point in the game you're at. So, like, if you're at a specific set of gear raids, say, you could go to your best records and you can look here and go, okay, I'm at gear raid 114, 315, and 212. What should I work on? Well, for this account, it's hard for me to work on gear raid 2 because I don't have any major AoE damage. It's hard to work on gear raid 1 because I don't have any AoE mages. So, and it's hard for me to work on artifact material raid because I don't have too many fighters. This account has been really good with archers, and that's pretty much it. Where you should progress, it's dependent on the game or the luck that you've had within the game, but I do recommend at the very least hitting your guild boss as many times or daily, and hitting as high as you can, because that'll get your most consistent rewards, and then just trying to push the gear raids as you can. When you get stuck, push further in the story, because that'll unlock better things for you, and it'll unlock more efficient farming methods for you. Yeah, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to let me know. I know this was a very long video. If you watched all of it, cool. I hope you gathered something out of it. I hope it wasn't too rambly for you, and I hope it helped you. If you have, like I said, any suggestions or questions, recommendations, or anything like that, definitely feel free to let me know, and I will implement that in the future. And I may make another beginner's guide. Who knows? Maybe next month, depending on how much the game changes, or depending on how much feedback I have from this. Like I said, I know this is a very long video, but I did want to cover everything possible in it. I believe I did, but I may not have. So, if you liked it, definitely like it. If you want to see more from me, or if you want to see what's going to be coming in the future, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.